Okay, let's take a look at some of the improvements that we've been making to the location editor in 0.2.1. We've been responding to some of the community requests, so we've added in keyboard shortcuts to the command tooltips. And we've also implemented a fairly large productivity tool, which is the paint tool. In the previous version of the location editor, you had to individually place the mud tiles and leaf tiles. And that was fairly time consuming and inefficient, so we've ripped all that out in favour of actually painting directly onto the terrain. And what we've done is we've divided tiles into 4 quadrants, and you paint in 1, 2, 3 or 4 of the quadrants depending on the blend that you want to achieve. So we'll do that now and show you how you actually paint onto the terrain. So I'll just lock the terrain so we don't select any. Then select the paint tool. We can then choose which texture we want to paint with, and holding down the U key, I'll just quickly paint in a small circle of mud. You can also hold down the U key and drag the mouse, paint multiple times. I'll just go in and clean up some of the harder edges that we've got here. We can also blend multiple textures, so let's select the cobblestone texture and we'll paste some of that down over here. Let's take it a little bit further in. Edges. Okay, and then if we zoom in, you can see that we've got grass blending into cobblestone and blending into mud. You can get some really nice effects. It's a little bit buggy at the moment, so we're just working on ironing out those few glitches that remain. But it should make getting some nicer terrains a lot quicker. So you're not fiddling around with placing individually textured tiles. You can also copy and duplicate tiles as you could before. So if I just duplicate this selection of 4, see that all of the mapping is copied, and you can rotate those as you could before. So that should make things a lot quicker. Moving on, let's take a look at more of the animals that we'll be including in the Grassland Animals kit in 0.2.2, along with the other monsters we've shared in the blog so far. First up, we've got the pig, so that's either going to be a prop in the farmyard or that you can place around the village, or it will be a source of sausages that go to the butchers. The chicken is already in the tutorial at the moment, but he's been redone just to make him more consistent. Chickens produce eggs at the chicken coop, and they get taken to your storehouse. The deer, they are hunted by the hunter character from the hunting lodge, and they are a source of meat that again goes to the butchers. The rabbits are at the moment a beauty feature. They're not really planned for anything else. They will occasionally wander into hunters' traps. Whether we introduce rabbit pelts or not is something that we haven't yet decided. Fishermen will go and fish in the rivers and ponds, and we'll have shoals of fish. So we've got beautiful looking. And finally, the squirrel, again, that's a beauty feature for really bringing your grassland locations to life. And again, they'll occasionally wander into hunters' traps. With patch 0.2.0.1 out of the way, it's probably a good time to just give an overview of what we've got planned in the 0.2.x release cycle. The first release, 0.2.1, is due hopefully within the next few days. We've just got a few final bugs to iron out. And as we've shown in this presentation, the main features are the paint tool. I'm not showing the construction kit, but that is all the component parts that we use to make buildings and to provide player designers with a way to share visual ideas that they may have for building designs. 0.2.2 is all about sort of getting the monsters in there, so we're going to put in spawn points and waypoints, and also a lot of the monster kits. So all of the monsters that we've been sharing in the devblog to date will be making an appearance in the editor so that they can be placed around the map. And we've also got the grassland animals kit containing many of the animals that we've also been sharing in today's blog and also in previous blogs. 0.2.3 is all about construction. The buildings that we've got in Sandbox are considerably different to those that are in the tutorial. So not only are you able to upgrade the buildings from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3, the way that you actually construct buildings will be slightly different as well. We'll be adding in the early stage occupational specialists. So here we're showing the miner. We're developing both the male and females at the same time, as we said we would. And they also are using the character customization system that we developed last year, that we covered in an earlier blog. Now, to go with those resource specialists, we obviously need the resources themselves, so we'll be adding in the mines, the lumber camps, the quarries and the farmers' fields. Actually there in the moment we'll just be making them functional. Between 0.2.3 and 0.2.4 is when it starts to become actually playable, so we're going to be working on a play mode which allows you to leave the editor and actually play around in real time with the levels that you have designed. So, you know, the spawn points, the monsters are actually going to start walking around. And to that we'll be adding more villagers as well as more buildings, just really so that we can start making more progress towards being able to play the game. And work's already started actually on the Tundra kit. That is essentially a whole new location kit, similar to Grasslands, but with all of the wintry snow scene. So it's got the Werfu Monks Monastery in there, it's also got other stuff. And then 0.2.5, the city wall system, it's actually built in at the moment, but we're not very happy with it, so we've not enabled it. So we're going to rework that. Let's see if we can get it to go up gentle inclines and still look nice. This again, siege weapons, they're actually in the code at the moment, but they're not enabled in the editor in 0.2.0.1. We don't really see much point in enabling those until we've got the city wall system done, given that, you know, many of them sit on the city walls. Effects kits, we'll be doing some of the special abilities and hopefully including a couple of those in the tutorials, like the monks' heal abilities, but also other effects, particle effects mostly, that you can use to add animation to your location designs. We may try and introduce terrain sculpting, which is a productivity tool. It's not a critical feature that's required for 0.3, which is the tower defense minigame. So we may or may not include that. That's why I've put a question mark next to it. At 0.25 we'll be adding more villagers, and we may also look to include a couple of heroes so that we can start introducing special abilities into our play mode. And finally, a little bit of a wrap up. So 0.2.6 is anything that is missing before the next major release, which is 0.3. Now, 0.3 we labelled as the tower defense minigame, but really it is the starting point that will evolve into the entire Sandbox experience. So, and it's a little bit, well, it's far more involved than your normal sort of iOS tower defense thing. It's really about the start of your village and getting your resource collection up and running, and then training soldiers and building city walls, and then you're going to start having to face wave after wave of enemy. So it is much more than tower defense. So we may relabel that, but we'll see when we get closer to the time. So we're aiming to deliver 0.3 within 3 to 4 month time frame. We'll review how that goes as we get to each sort of patch milestone, but that's, you know, hopefully what we're aiming for. And 0.3 will be a significant piece of replayable content. So those supporters that have been following the development who aren't particularly interested in using the location editor, this is going to be a major piece of playable content that you'll be able to play again and again. You know, follow different game plan. You might get different waves of enemies coming at you. So it really is the start of the Sandbox experience, with the key being on a replayable experience, so you can keep coming back to it.